read a great piece in American Greatness. Here's a quote. American politics has entered a new age. All that has gone before, polls, historical trends, message, issues, candidate quality, traditional get out the vote efforts, candidate debates, voter persuasion means almost nothing and is extremely insignificant. The only thing that truly matters now is the ballots out, ballots in machine. What? What's any of that mean? Joining me now, my friend, CEO of American Majority, Ned Ryun. Ned, somebody wrote this piece in American Greatness. Who was it? What's he talking about?
That would be me, Jesse. And after a couple days of recovering from really pretty high expectations for the midterms and based off what I think was a miscalculation on my part, living in Western Latin Virginia, seeing what we were able to do last year in 2021 and winning everything in a state that Biden won by 10 points in 2020, I realized I was pretty confident, overconfident coming into the midterms, and realized I missed what I think is truly the only thing moving forward, and what Democrats have figured out. It's not about votes, it's about ballots, and how many ballots can you send out and how many ballots can you collect. And that's why I wrote everything that's come before in many ways has been greatly diminished, almost to the point of really being insignificant until you figure out how do we send out more ballots, how do we collect more ballots. Everything else means nothing. And as you alluded to in your introduction to this segment, I'm not really sure I care about who the nominee is. I have, somebody that I favor, but I'm not really sure who the nominee is in 2024 if we don't figure this out, because I don't see how a Republican in 2024 can win Michigan or Pennsylvania, really Wisconsin, Minnesota, even Nevada and Arizona if they don't figure this out. It's a moot point in my mind who the nominee is unless we figure this out.
Okay, Ned, now let's do something here. I need you to pretend like I have the mind of a 5-year-old, which is not difficult. People go vote. Most of our people, they go vote on election day. I went and voted on election day, and I went down and I walked up to the computer machine and beep, 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 pressed a couple buttons and hit enter, and they printed off my ballot and I put it in the machine and I was done. So that's my knowledge of voting. What are you talking about? Ballots in, ballots out. What's a ballot? What do you mean?
Well, we've got to embrace what's legal, Jesse. Early voting sometimes starts 45 days before the elections. We should not be afraid of mail-in ballots. We should not be afraid of absentee ballot requests. We should not be afraid of ballot harvesting. I bet most people don't know that for all intents and purposes, ballot harvesting is legal in 35 states plus the District of Columbia. Where it's legal, we should use it. And I would remind people, I made this point in the piece at American Greatness. How do you think Republicans have been winning Florida for decades in what until recently was a D+ registration state with an absolute, significant percentage of mail-in ballots? They figured out how to do early mail-in voting. They figured out how to do absentee ballot chasing. They figured out all of these things to mitigate some of this damage coming into Election Day, so that on Election Day, which Republicans traditionally win by significant margins, they're going in barely behind and then are able to crush Democrats. And so I tell people, embrace the laws. They're on the books, whether you like them or not. And I have real problems with a lot of the laws, but a lot of this is legal. Embrace the laws. Let's go for it, because I don't think there's any way that we can win unless we actually embrace this. And I said in the piece, we either adapt or die.
Okay, so how do we begin, Ned? I don't want to lose Arizona and Michigan and Pennsylvania and Nevada, because that means Joe Biden's going to be president for another 4 years, or whatever new communist they put up in place of Joe Biden when they wheel him out the back door of the White House. I don't want that to happen. How do we begin? Where do we begin?
Well, first of all, we have to get past our mental block. I work with the grassroots all the time at American Majority, and there's been a lot of things that you have to get past on this mental block. Well, we don't think ballot harvesting is ethical. No, I don't either, but it's legal. So you got to get past that mental block. So it's an education cycle that we've got to get our base to. The other thing I want to remind people, how do you think the Republicans took the House of Representatives this cycle? Because Republicans figured out how to ballot harvest in California and New York State. They actually realized if we don't do this, we will not win. We will not be able to win these close House districts. So get past the mental block, embrace it, and understand, I'm sorry, there's no other way that I think, having looked at the numbers, you can win any of these key battleground states for the presidential. And I would argue even for some of these key Senate races in 2024. It's okay. We can adapt. We need to adapt. If we don't, I don't see how we get the White House back anytime soon, if ever.
Subscribe to the First TV today for instant access to exclusive specials and content you actually want to watch. Your support helps the First TV fuel the fight against those seeking to destroy our right to free speech. Simply visit thefirsttv.com/support to join the fight today.